What is going on? Welcome to another episode of Degen Dads with Chris Coffee here on the channel today, man. Welcome in. Chris, what's going on today, man?
Not much, man. We had our community update on Vivi, and we've had some other pretty big things happen in the NFT and tech space this week. So just trying to keep up with, everyday life. How about you?
Yeah, no doubt, man. It's been a crazy week in the NFT space. Amazon entered the NFT space apparently.
Hmm.
So that's going to be a big, huge anticipated thing coming up in the not so distant future. I mean, there's been a lot. I mean, Dookie Dash with the Mongrel, he's scoring the top score, huge esports
Yeah,
player
that
that
was
came
that was
over from
big. Yeah.
Fortnite. Yeah, and I do want to hit on that a little bit later and how that could impact the entire NFT ecosystem from kind of that trickle down effect. But yeah, there's tons and tons of news to just dive into. Nike opening up their Web3 creator studio. I mean, just a plethora of news. Obviously, the big topic of the day is going to be VeVe with their new, Purple Heart logo. I already have the purple background. They
Blue.
they just
Blue,
they caught.
huh? Oh, no. Is it purple or blue?
Well, it's got a purple background and it's a little bit it's like a darker blue. So it's got those palettes of purple in there, but it is
Yeah.
definitely a darker color.
You had
Chris,
me
how do you
thinking I'm colorblind, man. Maybe
Chris,
we just see
let
color
me
differently.
let me ask you, how do you feel about being your new VV lamp that you just recently got? How do you feel about being rug pulled on that?
Oh, man.
Oh,
I'm still happy
walk us
about
through
it,
that. Walk us
just
through that.
well, it's kinda like what is it? When it would probably be, like, more valuable now, huh? Like, when companies move on to, like, a new product and it's, like, no longer the old product, you kinda have, like, the run of that old one. So, I
Yeah.
feel like it's even, like, more OG now, more collectible. So, I'm still happy
Yeah.
with it,
Yeah.
man. I mean, honestly, if I'm making VV styled content and stuff and, like, I have this in the background, like, people already know, But,
We
like, if
already
I had,
know.
like don't
All
get me
right. So
wrong, I
are you
like the
wait,
new
wait, wait, wait,
logo.
wait. Are you trying to say it's a flex a little bit? Is that what you're trying to get at?
No, it's just clear. It's a clear message. If I had a
Okay.
big, I like the new logo and I get the point. But if I had a big like blue or as you say purple heart in the background, like people aren't gonna know. They're not gonna know that's Vivi. But
It's
this
very
just like
true.
should have says Vivi. So and then I got my little Porsche shield too that I never even bought that I should have bought. Porsche
Yeah.
NFT.
So this is yeah, it's interesting. I mean, if you look at the difference, like you people might already forget what the old VV logo looks like with the new branding. Yeah, this is definitely iconic. It's definitely old school. It's like owning an old Coke logo, kind of in a
Mm,
sense. It
yeah.
definitely is gonna make the more of these like not just the lamps. Like I jokingly was like telling somebody I will give them my VV lamp if they give me a secret rare AF-15 or a secret rare Superman comic, but totally kind of kidding. I don't know. That's worth a lot. Would you do that
Uh, Dozer sold his package for I think
to
like 1 ETH or
Silicon?
something like that. Yeah, for like 1 ETH or something like that.
No,
I
I think
think
it was a
I
little bit
think
more.
James Hook sold his to
James did for an
um
ETH. Yeah.
no, I wouldn't sell mine, I don't think.
Not even
Yeah.
for an AF-15 $10,000 comic? He's
Mm,
like, "Wait a minute. Wait a minute."
that'd be super tempting.
Uh,
I don't know. This means a lot to me, that they gave it to me, I
alright,
typically
yeah.
don't sell things that are sentimental and that are gifted to me.
Yeah, true.
Any I don't know unless like something went south. I can't think of a single project that has like gifted me something and I floored it. Unless it was like unless it was an airdrop, like let's take the hot topic right now, the Infinity Gauntlet. If I don't have any of the stones, but like if I had all the stones in anticipation for the gauntlet and then I got the gauntlet, I would probably sell that. But like, take example, the first time Vivi ever had this big error during the Ultraman drop, and then they gifted the posters, the secret rare poster Ultraman. That was worth like $1,000 or $1,500 during last year at this time, and I didn't sell it, and I got it for
Yeah.
$0 because it was a gift. So I
Yeah,
that's
I
that
feel
kind of
you. I
goes. I've had a couple of projects gift me stuff, and I've never that I think of. I've
yeah,
never
yeah.
floored any for unless it was like something
So
bad happened on the
so
project.
all jokes aside, alright, so obviously, like, jokes aside, I'm appreciative of my VV lamp as well, but, what's your thoughts about this branding, man? We have somebody in the chat here, let me pull this up. Um Here is it. Medical dating app confirmed. So I've seen this a little bit as a joke, like VeVe is the new Tinder app of collecting, which is kind of funny.
Yes, I saw
But
that. There's a Tinder dude, I'm too old to know what the Tinder profile. I was already married when Tinder like popped off.
me
So like
too.
I don't even know what the app looks like.
Where did you and your wife meet? Just out of curiosity. Now that you bring that up,
We met the first
is
year
that
of
okay?
college. Yeah, yeah, that's
College?
fine.
Okay.
We met as freshmen in college. And at that it wasn't like super long ago, but like at that
Yeah.
point, dating apps online were almost like frowned upon, especially in high school. Like in high school, like if you're on a dating app, it's like, oh well, you don't got game to do it in person. You
It
know, like that
was.
that
I
was like the,
remember it.
the
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that was like the running like thing. And then
Yeah.
like I got married and a couple of years later, it was like super normal to like use Tinder, Bumble,
Yeah.
all the other, dating apps. And now it's obviously like super normal.
Yeah, yeah, totally. That was funny. It did when they first came out, it was kind of like, "Whoa, bro, like I got confidence in my game. I don't need that stuff."
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
now as like society has progressed and we have like AI, everybody's working remote, like, everybody's just more kind of like secluded. So now it makes sense to have those dating apps. But anyways,
Mhm.
jokes aside, thoughts on the branding, first initial reactions, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I actually put a tweet out about this. I mean, I don't have like a strong opinion on it. I like the new like hashtag, which I like already forgot. Which it's
Like
collectors at heart.
collectors at heart,
I
yeah.
like the collectors at heart. I actually like the simple retro logo. I do like it. I'll get to kinda more on that in a bit. Um, I don't like the transition from the red circle to the blue heart, because to me, the blue heart is, like, too general. Like, I can't see me, even somebody who's, like, been with Vivi for a long time, like, looking at a blue heart emoji and immediately thinking about Vivi. But every
Mhm.
single time I see that red circle, I think of Vivi/Omi. Every single time. I will
Yeah.
still think of that. Maybe it'll be different for onboarding people, but I feel like the blue heart is just like, this is so petty, like, kind of a dumb, like, side note, but, like, I feel like the blue heart, like, people use it so much already or I've seen it, that it's not gonna be as easy to associate it with Vivi, you know?
Mhm. Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I know this is a
I feel
controversial
that.
issue, and I'm not gonna give my opinion on it, but even like, I'm not, never mind. Go ahead, Kyle.
Oh, no, 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 yeah, I get what you're saying, like, kind of it is a little bit late in the game to be doing, the heart thing. I mean, overall, the heart, yeah, I get it, collecting at heart and, that's kinda going in the direction of master collectors program, so I'm actually, branding-wise, in terms of marketing the marketing angle, I don't mind that at all. I think that's actually good and ties into the MCP, but the heart and the in terms of the emoji, now we kind of have to use two emojis. That's going to be confusing. People already love the red circle, but I could see over time them people just having both, the heart and the emoji. I just don't think it will be as recognizable in the Web3 and the Twitter spaces as much as the red circle. So I don't impact wise the heart right now isn't going to do too much. People are still going to rely a lot on that red circle in terms of impact and finding each other on Twitter. Like a blue emoji heart is like super commonly used across the
Yeah,
board.
that's my problem
Um,
with it.
yeah, yeah. So, yeah, I see a little bit of trouble in terms of that side of things, but overall, the the messaging and the branding, I could see play into the MCP. I did hear Dan Crowthers mention that in the community update, which gets me a little bit excited, to be honest. All been waiting for this for like a year or more, right, Chris? Like the MCP, like we've been
Oh,
holding
yeah.
the bags here, waiting for these points to show up in the app. And I get they've hired Mitch, they made some ground here, but we have been waiting here. We're waiting for it. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm disappointed. I mean, it wasn't very substantial. It's hard. Yeah, I mean, I wish there would have at least been more. For one, I didn't finish the entire video, so maybe it got further on. But from what I've heard, there's like no mention of Omi, and like some kind of like roadmap update would have been nice. And then as far as like the MCP goes, other than like kind of like vague statements, it would have been nice to kind of have a little bit more laid out. Not even hard dates, because like I'm not for them giving hard dates, because that sets people up to be let down. But just like a little bit more discussion on it, would have been nice. And last year around this time, I feel like one of the things that hurt Vivi is that Hero came out just out of nowhere already with their own
I don't know
MCP
if
style.
Yeah, speaking of which, I don't know if you've seen this meme. And chat, we are calm down. You know, this is just all jokes aside. We're just joking here. We still love VeVe. I still have a VeVe lamp. I'm still collecting, but I thought this meme was pretty funny. All right, Chris, I don't know if you've seen this this meme here, but I don't know who made this, but it was kind of funny. Atro
So
burning and crafting and collector points live, quid interoperability, importing 3D assets into metaverse live, and then we have this over here with the blue heart here. So
well, and
yeah,
obviously that's like a funny meme that's like joking. Like pull
just
back up
jokes.
because
Yeah.
like no, pull back up.
All right, all right.
It reinforces my point though. Like I think last year at this time we kind of had the same effect because like you have half the people being like you need to be patient, you need to wait for things, but then you have like an app like Hero that comes out with like already this like master collector program basically. Like they have a points program that rewards collectors and incentivizes you to hold. And it wasn't foolproof. It had its own issues, but you know they had the system kind of going already. So now we're kind of seeing the same thing like in that meme is not that necessarily VV like has to keep pace, but I feel like it could be discouraging to see like, oh, Hero just dropped crafting and burning, which VV has been doing burning by the way, which is pretty cool. We just saw that happen the other day. But yeah, anyways, kind of a side
Yeah,
tangent.
yeah, you know, totally. I mean, there is a balance here. I mean, Stan brings up a point. How is it late? This isn't a short-term play. Listen, you know, it's about collecting. I think that's why Vivi said, and that's another big reason I think why Vivi is trying to do this branding. It's like, hey, this is collecting. You know, it might take a while. You know, they can definitely lean into that as kind of a crutch there. But yeah, I get the long-term play, but we do see other apps out there and it to like I guess somebody holding a lot of value in terms of NFTs, like tens of thousands of dollars in these collectibles. We do care about the advancements of EV. You know, a lot of people are passionate. You know, the search bar. We people are excited about these small features. Crypto payout or the cash out feature was a big piece of news. It went closed and then now it's back open. Obviously, that was wire but we love to see like updates and progress and this is just a meme. It's kind of silly, kind of funny, but there's a little truth in that. And yeah, so no fun here. We still love Vivi. I still have Omi. I haven't sold a cent like ever, so you know what I mean. But yeah,
I don't think I have for on Omi either. There was one point where I like talked about swing trading, like a small bag of it, but I don't think I ever
oh
ended up
yeah,
doing
yeah,
that.
I
I
swung
don't.
traded Omi for sure.
Oh, so you did sell some?
Yeah, I guess if you count that, I don't
Yeah,
know
I
if
know
you
what you mean.
count
I know what you mean.
acquiring
Yeah,
more. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like your actual DCA that you're like your long term hold, you've never taken out of, like you still have.
Shout out to Daniel Marquez. I just gifted a membership in the chat and he claimed it. So congrats
You
to you,
can gift
man.
memberships.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What? I didn't know that was
Hmm.
a thing.
Oh yeah.
What? Dude, shout out to Daniel. Let's go. Daniel's super active in the community. So he deserves it.
Yeah, so Benjamal, OG, this guy's OG in the app, in the VV app. He posts consistently in the VV app. I'm sure he's got thousands of followers just in the VV app alone. So I'm very familiar with Ben. He said when joining the app in February 2021, the top priority was MCP. February 2023, still waiting. How can you not feel disappointed? Yeah, in terms of collectors, again, these are people that we've been here from the very beginning that have spent a lot of money. We're not, a lot of people are just average people that have 9 to 5 jobs, and and you're spending a lot of money on collectibles. We do expect a little bit of progress. So I have full faith in VB still. It's just timelines. I would like to see them move a little bit quicker. I think 2023 we will see more development updates, especially hopefully this branding ties into that. I'm kind of holding out and waiting for that.
I will say too, I don't know how familiar chat is with like the background of things, but VeVe picked up Corey or Old Rhubarb, which also made VeVe content. He doesn't anymore because he works for VeVe. And then they picked up Ryan. Ryan does a lot of graphic design and social media outreach. I think both of them are solid improvements to the team. And I think this year, particularly, we're going to see their skill sets like kick in and kind of see more marketing and more like organic growth through Ryan and Rhubarb. So, or Corey. So I'm excited to see what both of them do with the new brand and pushing the product and the marketing out.
Yeah, totally, totally. Yeah, and I kind of would like to see. I like both of those pickups by VeVe, but I would like to see them utilize them more. I haven't really seen too much material, but I would love to see more from those guys, especially on their Twitter feeds. We want to see behind the scenes, guys. We want to see
Yeah.
like more. Crypto Stash did a cool video just recently behind the scenes of what was going on behind My Pet Hooligan, which I thought was really cool. Made me want to go buy a $1,000 or actually like a $1,500 NFT. They're like around 1 ETH. But just because he showed behind the scenes, like I love that stuff. And I
Hmm.
like how they teased RoboCop. They did a really good job with the little tease trailer there. They showed all the VeVe employees. Keep doing more of that. We want to see some cool stuff like that.
Well, yeah, even the intro to their community update was cool. Like, I mean, maybe it's just because, like, I appreciate video, so, like, that stood out to me. The average person might not care, but I was like, "Man, that's a pretty cool intro." Like, it got me, like they did the little, if I caught that right, you know, the little Disney Channel, D that Disney does? They kinda did that in the intro. I thought that was kinda funny. Yeah, we got a bat
Yeah,
cow in here.
in Mitch we trust for sure,
Gedsy.
man. We've been definitely seeing some things move since they hired Mitch. You know, Mitch was on the community update. Any thoughts on Mitch? You have your thoughts on the new hire Mitch and how he's leading up the development side of things?
I don't know enough about him, honestly. I probably should have done my due diligence on him, but that just wasn't
Yeah.
on my
So
I already knew Corey and I already knew Ryan. I don't know Mitch.
So for me, in terms of Mitch, he's like the head of product. So far, great. I mean, he's set timelines. He's been very reasonable. He's came into something that didn't have structure and put a structure to that. That alone, right there, takes enormous amount of energy, hours, and you actually have to build that system literally inside of a software, like a management software, whether that's was it called Jira, or Notion or whatever they
Mm.
use on the back end. But you literally have to build all of that. And I'm sure that's what he had to do and how hard that must have been in just a short amount of time. And it sounds like they are progressing and taking ground now that Mitch is there. So we needed Mitch, I think, back in 2021. Had they had a Mitch back then, we would see we'd be up to speed on a lot of stuff and be taking a lot of ground here. But
But
I'm
in their defense on that, though, there's things they had to cover. Like, people think that they're just profiting everything they make. Like, and I know you know this, but just for like the viewers, like I personally believe I don't think we ever saw like Vivi's full finances, but I personally believe there was things they had to catch up on first before investing back into like new hires. And I mean, after like a year or two of drops, they obviously like were able to pay that debt off and pay their licensors and pay the Apple stores and all that and be able to start paying full-time positions like Corey, Ryan, and Mitch. I personally don't think they had that capital. I don't know. Like in 2021, like they already have invested so much into like the startup of it. But I mean, that's just my like speculation on it. Because I applied for the position, Kyle. I applied for the social media position, and I think it was like around $100,000 a year. It was something like that, you know, and I was like, "Man, yeah, man, I'll post for VeVe for $100,000 a year." So all jokes aside, like I have marketing experience, I put my resume in, but like I read the whole description. So if they're kind of paying that on average, I mean that adds up. They're picking up, you know, 3 new devs, 2 new social media. Alex mentioned today that they're gonna pick up, I guess, somebody else for marketing. So like they're budgeting out like a team right now that's like pretty expensive. You know, it's not like they're just getting like contract work or they're just getting like some people to do free advertisement because for let's be honest, for a lot of people do like to hate on like influencers or whatever, but like for the first like 2 years, their main marketing was through influencers or was through word of mouth. So like the Cavels, the VV Vaults, Kyle Yu, like everybody that was making early VV content, like really did help like it had a snowball effect. Like those people picked up people, and then those people got into the community, and then there's separate like Twitter Spaces and the Discord communities who like strengthened each other and onboarded people. So it's a big snowball effect. But you can't rely on free marketing for the rest of your life. Like even like the biggest companies in the world still pay for marketing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Totally, totally. Yeah, I totally agree on that. Micro influencers, small influencers are insanely impactful. I mean, that's the strategy we ran up at Illuvium essentially is we got a lot of the smaller creators. And the reason why you would do that versus going with the big creator is because a small creator does deep dives. They literally update you on all the news going on with a current project, versus a larger channel that has kind of a just a wide audience that doesn't necessarily care about collecting or NFTs. They might just care about the actual crypto token,
Yeah.
and that's it. And if they mention in VeVe and they mention maybe Omi, maybe they don't even know what Omi is. So maybe they look it up one time and forget about it. So that's why you would go with the smaller creators, is because they can get the information out there. And that's why I put sometimes in some cases I value smaller creators more than the actual big creators. So yeah, it's a huge marketing strategy that some really smart people are using right now, that a lot of big companies haven't tapped into. We've seen a little bit of that on like TikTok, and they're testing with that. But we have yet to really see a lot of like big brands use the smaller creators. Now, NFT
Yeah.
space is a little bit different. I have been contacted by some brands. I shoot a lot down, Chris. I'm sure you shot a lot of these random projects down too.
All the
But
time.
yeah, some definitely good traction, and because it's a new space, and I think
I got an
we'll
offer for a
continue to
sponsorship
move.
for DJ and Dad podcast last week, but I denied it because I don't want to promote anything I'm not fully confident in. So that's why our
Check,
current sponsor is myself
yeah,
with Hidden Grounds Coffee.
Chris, check the host chat there for real quick. I don't know
Sure.
if you see
Yeah, that's
that.
fine.
Okay, cool. All right. Other topic. So this is kind of a long, winded talk here. So again, to recap it all, to bring it back, to kind of reset the chat, reset the room, is VeVe branded their entire. Actually, let's just pull it up. Let's pull it up. I'm gonna go ahead and just get this pulled up on Twitter
Yeah.
real
So
fast.
Kay brought up a point earlier. He didn't want to wear a shirt that just has a big blue heart on
Whoa!
it. A
We
big
have an
blue heart on it.
announcement.
Oh, is it
Um,
big?
it's cool, I think.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. They picked me up. No, I'm just kidding. Let me
Yeah,
pull it up.
VeVe's actually gonna sponsor this podcast, and no,
Huge.
Scrooge
Oh,
McDuck,
I see the
man.
announcement.
Freaking Scrooge
That's cool.
McDuck comic. This is pretty sweet. 1953. Is this so I wonder if this is the first appearance comic here. I love Scrooge. I think this is awesome. Uncle Scrooge, the money. I mean, super iconic. I see a lot of people have this poster in their background. Even Hustlepedia, who's a big Web3 content creator, has a big Scrooge poster in the background of his set. So, anyways, I love Scrooge. I think this is super iconic. I'll definitely be going for this one. But as you can see, VeVe with the rebrand here with the heart. We see collectors at heart. They even did an intro video, kind of a full rollout. Now, one thing I will say about I do love the color. I like the blue, especially in app. But I wish they would kind of streamline the heart color across the board and not
Would
do
you
like
wear a
one.
shirt with just that on it?
No. So with the green, I might do like a
I'm
gray,
clipping
maybe.
this. I'm clipping this. I'm going to say Kyle Fudding the new logo. It's going to go
So
on
if they
Twitter.
did like VeVe on the front and then a small like tiny heart in the back of the hat, I would wear that. But I wish they would streamline the colors across the board, like not do green over here, red on YouTube or orange on YouTube. Just
I
just
agree.
do
Yeah.
all across the
Yeah.
board the
I
same.
agree.
It's too confusing.
Yeah. It's too
But
much.
yeah, overall not bad.
Wait, scroll down a little bit. Scroll down a little bit. Oh, I thought you weren't following Alex for a second. I was about to laugh. It's like,
Oh,
come on, bro. You got to keep up with Alex.
account merging, that's going on right now.
Oh, yeah. I wrote a thread on that.
That'll be going on till the 30th of April. So if you haven't read that, watch Chris's or read Chris's thread. And they also have an article there. Other news, Discord, that's going to be February, well, today,
Yeah.
and in a few hours on that. And what else we got? There's been quite a bit of updates. They've done a lot of burns here just a day ago. So there's been a lot of updates in terms of burns. They dropped the Infinity Stone. I mean, there's just a lot going on right now in the VV community for sure. And I feel kind of that little uptick in excitement and sentiment here. So some people don't like the branding. It's all laughs. It's all funny. Like don't take this too seriously. If you see on Twitter somebody doesn't like the branding, don't go after them. Like they're just having a good time laughing about it. It'll probably grow on mostly everybody in
Oh
like a
yeah.
couple
N
months.
there's always hate towards rebrand. Like recently, a college next to me added like a letter in their name, and like the whole city went like nuts. Like, oh, it's always been this. Why is it this now? This sucks. And like, anytime somebody changes a mascot, there's always kickback. My one problem, Kyle, I will say, is we were really anticipating some big announcements for MCP and some other things. And it almost seemed, even though they announced at the beginning of the video that this wasn't all about the rebrand, it almost seemed like, well, here's the rebrand. So we're going to kind of push the other stuff to this under right now. Personally, I kind of felt that way. And that was the only like problem I had with it. Like, I think the rebrand is great. I was just waiting for a lot of substance. Is this their first? No, when was the last community update? I thought they skipped last month. So I don't remember. I can look it up, but I want to say this might even be the first one of the year. And so I kind of had. I guess I got my hopes too high. Let's see when the last one was.
Yeah. No, I've actually got a little bit of that. So you and I were both in a ton of chats, like OG stuff. A lot of collectors from the early days, and a lot of new, some of the new people that have come into the space. So we get to see like a wide range of sentiment from everybody. Even the most bullish OGs. So yeah. This update wasn't like a needle mover. Any
Yeah,
like it just didn't move the needle here. I mean, chat, like, I don't know if you agree with me or not on that. Let me know in the chat. Did this push the needle forward for you in terms of app developments? I mean, the thing that I got out of it, that crypto payout is done. It's dusted. Dan Crowther said so. Definitely excited about that. That is something that is exciting, and they just have to make sure the security is airtight. Looking forward to that. I think that one does increase, like, does push the needle a little bit there. MCP, they still didn't give a date on that. They just said phase one retroactive points are going to be visible in the app. I'm excited about it, but it didn't push the needle because they didn't give a timeline there. So a
yeah.
little bit of disappointment in terms of that.
This, by the way,
But yeah,
this was the first update of the year. So that was, the first one, 2023. It's kind of funny. It says January update, which it kind of is, but they dropped it in February. I don't know. That's just like a small thing. Also,
mm-mm.
Blockchain Comics brought up
There's-
that the Fed meeting is in 15 minutes.
so Fed meeting, that's going to play into sentiment and the market. So be on the lookout for what OMI's going to do. If inflation, CPI numbers remain the same, it probably won't. I mean, OMI's probably going to continue to go sideways, or maybe even decrease a little bit if Bitcoin decreases. So I think right now the entire market's just moving sideways. So if you look at Ethereum, Bitcoin, there's a little bit of volatility, but in terms of the tokens, what they're doing in the macro, if you pull it back like a 7-day, 14-day time period, it's just the price has been in that same zone. Like it's just fluctuated in the
Mhm.
same like area for a while. So, do you have any thoughts on that, on token price news or fundamentals that you're kind of seeing there, Chris? Or you kind of
I
uh,
think macro,
think
like
something's going
sometimes.
to move?
Yeah, I think macro obviously like determines prices, but ultimately OMI is not going to move much until they get some solid like what is the exact utility going to be, and are people like using this utility, and kind of clear some things up. I think the collectibles will move a little bit if we get like some good news today, like in the next, I guess like 10 minutes now. Last time it only moved like, or last time, last Fed meeting, it only moved, CPI moved like what, 0.1% or something like that. And it was pretty bullish for the market, and the whole market reacted positively. And I mean, obviously everything bleeds, or everything like kind of trickles out. If we get news that prices aren't going to go up on everything we buy, then people get, bullish on that, and then they could, allocate that money to stocks, and then allocate that money to crypto, allocate that money to micro caps. So like it kind of like, goes all over the whole thing. So we'll see in the next few minutes kind of how everything reacts. This is usually where professional traders, which I am not, usually make some big moves, is around the Fed meeting, like on the days that they'll either be pulling shorts or doing longs, or like starting longs like on the days of Fed meetings, and make some
All right,
potential big moves.
so here we have something big to talk about. There is an asteroid, really a giant asteroid, approaching the planet Vivi, and it's about to impact it or maybe miss Vivi completely.
Oh,
That
okay.
that asteroid being Amazon. All right.
Oh,
So I made
yeah.
it
Web3
dramatic.
gaming.
Yeah, so I wanted to make it dramatic because maybe nothing happens, but I think it will impact Vivi in a macro sense, maybe not directly, but in a macro. So what I mean by that, what will Amazon do? Like chat, like and Chris, what do you think Amazon's going to do in terms of NFTs? Are they going to stick with what they're good at, marketplace, Web3 gaming? What's your thoughts?
Well, they said in the article that they're gonna go towards Web3 gaming, so I think that's, like, their one of their primary focuses, which I think is extremely bullish because Amazon's never really even done, like, games before that I know of, like or at least that hasn't been a big focus of theirs. So for them just, like, just jump over games and go straight into Web3 gaming is, like, ultra bullish. I I personally do not think it's gonna have anything to do with VeVe. I saw, like, Dr. Profit and a couple of other people on Twitter saying that it would because basically in their article they brought up Disney and then they brought up Immutable X. But to be fair, I think they brought up Disney because Disney's one of the biggest brands in the world, so it's just kind of using that likeness. And then I think they brought up Immutable X because I mean the top layer twos is Immutable X and Polygon. Like that's what most big businesses are going to be using. So to me, that the reason they chose Immutable X and Disney is just kind of like obvious. I don't think this directly links to VeVe. And some people on Twitter were like, Chris, I don't remember exactly how they said it, but basically they thought like I was trying to FUD or whatever when I said that. But like, do you want me to drop a video saying VeVe's teaming up with Amazon? And then create a bull case or create this case that VeVe is going to team up with Amazon just so if they don't, you can be disappointed. Like, do you want me to make that type of content? Do you want me to like push people in that direction? Like personally,
Right.
I'm gonna stay true to me.
Right. So yeah, in your perspective, in your shoes, you've been through this before because we've hyped up, because we've been excited. Like this is just genuine content creation at heart, and it's tough to do that. To like, should I do this content? Should I not? And that's one of those scenarios. Like, since you don't have enough concrete, it's hard to just push that out and then yeah, like crush people's hopes at the end of the day, and then you get called moon boy and all these other things that like a lot of hate gets thrown our way, like when we make content, trying to make a bull case or something. So I totally get that for sure. Now, I don't think so. Like, yeah, I'm not really quite sure there. Maybe there is something in the works there. Maybe they integrate Immutable X. I think that's a possibility. I think Amazon is no stranger to Web3 gaming. I do think there's a connection there. Not to say like so. I could see Amazon like maybe integrating a blockchain. Now they're working with Avalanche right now to
Yeah, saw that.
spin up nodes for developers. Like it's
Yeah,
like simple infrastructure stuff. So I think they stick with their bread and butter first, and then they need a marketplace on their own if they are to support Web3 games. So I do think that they'll spin up a marketplace, and they're no stranger to games. They actually have 3 titles out. The third one is coming out this year, I think in the summer, called Blue Protocol, which is actually ironic. So I'm like, ooh, play on words there, maybe. I don't think that's going to be a Web3 game
Blue
though.
Heart Protocol.
No, I just oh, that would be insane.
That
Um,
would actually be insane.
but that's my initial thoughts. I mean, like you said, I don't know if we have enough evidence here to say like if that there's a partnership there. There always could be. I mean, they could always do something there. I could because I could see Amazon trying to get ahead of like what eBay's doing with their
Yeah.
integration of like Polygon and NFTs over there. So I do think we'll see some moves on Amazon and what we'll see in terms of the marketplace. And like you said, I think we will see Web3 games coming from Amazon eventually. Maybe not in a soon, but eventually. Because they bought out Twitch. They know gaming. I mean, they know
Oh, they
gaming
did
quite.
that for sure. I mean, again,
Yeah.
in the article, it talks about Web3 gaming. Like Amazon's definitely
Yeah.
on board. So that's I'm stoked,
Yeah.
dude. I get to meet with with Scott with WagMe Defense Games tomorrow for the first time and kind of talk, kind of learn about the game. So I'm excited, man. I've been talking about stepping into more Web3 games. I just haven't, but this week I really want to download some and just start playing.
Yeah, I've played some Spider Tanks recently from Gala Games. Really excited what Gala's doing. They're doing their own blockchain. They're gonna have their own
Yeah,
layer one. They're gonna have even more. They bought a mobile game studio. I mean, they have a lot going on. The Rock and Mark Wahlberg with some documentaries and movies going on over there. In terms of the industry, entertainment industry, there's a lot that needs to be disrupted. Gala Games doing it right, disrupting music, movies, and games. Those are the big three of entertainment: movies, music, and games. So that's why I think Amazon will try to take a chunk out of the entertainment area eventually. Starting with, like you said, Web3 games. You sold recently your
Digi baby. Yeah, paper
Digi
handed that.
Daigaku
I sold
Daigaku.
absolute top. Almost absolute top. I was probably like one of the like top like 5
It's
highest
like,
sales out of like thousands and thousands of sales. Yeah, that's alpha I gave on our DJ and Dad podcast. So if you watch that, you got in on the raffle, you could have got a free
hey, it
$900.
was teamwork. It was like peanut butter and jelly on that topic because I
And
brought up
we
Digi.
both just happened to get
Yeah,
it. Like that's nuts. And like, you know,
yeah.
in the smaller communities, it might look like that's favor. Digidaigaku is huge. Like we are like freaking pebbles in that community. So like there is no favor given whatsoever. And the fact that we got it, but Kyle diamond handed, I paper handed. I was like, yeah, I'll take that 900 thing, please. It was a
Yeah, I
free
thought about it.
free
I
claim
considered
for
it.
those that weren't there. So like you basically all you had to do was like log in, register your wallet for a chance to get it. If you got it, you get a free claim, free NFT. The NFT ran up to like a little bit over half an ETH, which is where I sold. I sold it like 0.55. I think it ran up to 0.6, and which was like $900 at the time. And right now, it's still not doing bad. Are you staking yours?
Yeah, I went ahead and staked it because I thought about selling too. I was like, man, I could really use this liquidity to buy some other stuff or whatever. But I was like, you know what? I got it for free. I'm gonna stake it and whatever. Like, I'm already going into the Web3 gaming sector space. I've already been in it. Like a whole Neo Tokyo, which is centered around Web3 games and metaverse. So for me, I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna keep it, and maybe I'll be able to use it in game. I already have my favorite thing to do on the side, aside from VeVe collecting, is actually collecting undervalued Web3 gaming assets. That's my favorite
Mm.
thing to do right now because I believe these games are going to pop off big time in a big way. And when they do, people will be wishing they had the flex piece of that NFT. And I'll do is I'll scoop them up on the low, and I'll do like 3 or 4 per collection per game. And then when the market takes off, I'll sell like 1 or 2, and then have that I'll still have one extra to play with.
I did like in back to the community update today. I did like how David said basically if you own more than 3, then something you can consider yourself a collector. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, it's that trinity. Now, it's not always easy to do, especially in NFTs. Chris, you know this. When
It's
you
expensive.
buy one off the floor, and then all of a sudden the floor just shoots up real quick, and you're like, well,
Yeah.
that got out of hand literally like within a split second. Sometimes it's impossible to collect 3, like unless you just have the liquidity or you're a whale. So sometimes it's actually really difficult to do in the macro NFT space. Even on VeVe, we've seen this on VeVe. Try to collect some, and the floor just goes too quick.
While before we move off the topic of the Digidaigaku, I just want to say if you're here, one, hit the like button. It's not even my video, it's Kyle's, and you need to smash that like button for sure. Get this into the YouTube algos. We do this every week. We switch channels. 2, here's some alpha for you for the 33 people watching right now. We just talked about the Digidaigaku villains. That was a free claim to everybody that watched our thing, signed up, and got selected during the Super Bowl. Well, actually, I think you can still sign up now, but during the Super Bowl, there's going to be a commercial with Digidaigaku. There's going to be a QR code, probably similar to the Coinbase one we saw last Super Bowl. If you were one of the first to scan that QR code, there's going to be 10,000 pieces. A couple are allocated for whitelist. So let's say if you're the first 6, 7,000 to scan that QR code, you get a Digidaigaku Dragon airdrop. I don't know the price, but it's not like this is a risk because it's going to be a free claim.
It's a free
You
mint,
might have
yeah.
to pay, yeah, you might have to pay gas, but like that's worth the risk. And I could go into like a little bit more detail of that at another time. But there's the alpha for you for watching the DJ and Dad podcast. Is when you're watching the Super Bowl, be waiting for the Digidaigaku commercial. Also, if you want to sign up for the possible free one, which is going to be like impossible to get, find Gabe Layden's Twitter. He has like 600,000 followers. And he has it somewhere on his Twitter, talking about the dragon was a whitelist.
Yeah, yeah, they teased the trailer on the Daigaku Twitter feed. So if you're wondering, well, what is it going to look like, Chris and Kyle, go to their official like game Twitter, Daigaku, and they have a little teaser there. And I think Gabe retweeted it, or he actually shared it maybe. That, and also if you own a villain, a masked villain, and a super villain potion, those two, and you stake those, you'll just be able to mint a dragon,
Yeah,
right around the Super Bowl.
but
But
that's expensive.
it's extremely expensive. It's like 2 ETH for the super villain potion, and then like another point 0.4, 0.5 ish or whatever for the villain mask. But
That's one of the reasons why I sold mine. I was like, "Dude, this is a rich man's game. It's not my game." So I'm dipping out of here with some profits, and I'll allocate it for something else.
yeah, it's for sure a rich man's game. For me, it's just gonna be one of those like long term plays. Hopefully, I'll maybe have a little bit of a OG flex there if Digi does
Yeah, man.
well.
I hope it does
Um,
do well.
and they did at one point like try to recruit me, and so maybe
What?
I'll show a little support there. Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
thought I told you that one time.
you might have. I just forgot.
Yeah, yeah. They're needing some bodies, and yeah, somebody reached out to me, and I went through and the whole process and things like that. So yeah, it was an interesting deal there, but yeah, super excited about the Super Bowl. Who's gonna win, by the way? Eagles or Chiefs?
Dude, if my team's not in it, then I'll watch
Are
it,
you a
but
Cowboys fan?
no, I'm Saints because I'm
Oh, yeah,
Louisiana.
okay, so Saints. Okay.
I do like the Cowboys, but I'm not huge into football. I'll watch my team, but obviously they're out of it. So
Oh my God, yes. I was gonna bring that up in spaces earlier or on Twitter. Is the people that got VeVe tattoos now their old logo is completely rug pulled. So
I didn't even think
at
about that,
least,
dude.
but at least
Whoa,
you can
whoa.
say you're an OG, you know.
What about the gold logos and the silver logos? Like, what's up with them? Is that going to add value or take away value?
So Alex said in Spaces just moments ago, he confirmed that they're gonna discontinue the old logo, and they're going to if they drop anything new in terms of logos, it's gonna be the new one. So the old logos I think they'll be more valuable for sure. I think
Okay,
they jumped up like 200 gems, I think, or so. But in terms of value, I think that adds value to them because it'll
cool.
be seen as like the original, and that's always a big deal.
Yeah,
But
even
it's
though
funny because
if we do get mass adoption, nobody's going to recognize it. They're going to be like, "What is this?"
yeah, they're like, "What's that? That doesn't look like VeVe. That's a knockoff logo." And it's like, "Oh, it's the classic."
We didn't.
We Getsy said
What?
Eagles. Yeah, I'm torn here. The Eagles are so good. So I'm a 49ers fan, and we got decimated because our starting QB got hurt like right off the bat. And the Eagles guy like caught a pass, dropped it or like he didn't have possession, and they called it a pass, a completion. And so that kind of like those two things like right off the bat kind of ruined like the game was just kind of over at
Yeah.
that like the beginning of the game. But yeah, I think Eagles will. Man, they're stout. I just don't. It's going to be tough for the Chiefs to win. I think it's going to be a shootout, though. It's going to be a shootout. It's going to be a good one. I
When
think
is
that
it?
February 12th, I think, or is that the date? Chat is Super Bowl the 12th? I can't remember. It's either the 12th or the 14th. It usually falls on like the second. I think it's like what the second Sunday. Yeah, so the 12th, I think, is this year. So it always falls on the second Sunday of February, like every year.
Okay.
So no matter what day that is, that's always when it is. So I think it's gonna be the 12th.
I think I'm just going to be getting back from a trip, but
All right,
we'll see.
what other alpha do we have? I mean,
We
We
didn't.
still have to talk about Mongrel. We didn't talk about that one.
We do, but I got something even bigger first. We didn't talk about this ahead of time. This was breaking news. I need a soundboard. Brr, 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 brr.
I have it somewhere.
Your hero, the guy you always tell me, man, I want to be just like him when I grow up. Recently bought a sappy seal. Can you guess who it is?
Wait, who bought a Sappy Seal?
BitBoy bought a
No way.
yeah, he bought a Sappy
No
Seal
way.
yesterday, and I haven't actually looked to see what that did to floor price, but BitBoy is not known for NFTs, so that was interesting. I am not a BitBoy fan like you are, Kyle, but still, at the end of the day, that's
I don't.
probably
I
good. That's
Whoa,
probably good exposure.
whoa.
That's
Who
probably good
said I was a
exposure.
fan? Oh, who said I
It
was
did.
a fan?
It didn't really move the floor price that much, but it's probably good exposure for the space. So that obviously I'm joking around, like that's like micro exposure because like people that follow BitBoy are probably already familiar with the space. But there was even bigger exposure this week, which is with the mongrel stuff.
All right, we do have yeah, we'll talk about Mongrel in just a second because I think that one's going to be exciting topic for really the
More exciting than
macro.
BitBoy buying a Sappy.
Yeah, more
Sappy
exciting
still.
than that one. um, so we do have some news here. This is sort of breaking. I mean, this just came out yesterday evening, so it's really fresh news here. IMX, Immutable X, they're coming out with the instant wallet onboarding. This is a more bullish case. I saw Omi the Clown in the chat who actually reminded me of this topic here, and I'm curious to see what he has to say in chat about this little feature that IMX has dropped. Chris, have you seen this? The instant wallet onboarding by
I
Immutable
haven't, but I
X.
guess people didn't like it because it's down 5% in the last 24 hours. The token is. I went to go check, like, oh, maybe that news like ramped them up. Now they're down a little bit, but I mean, they're
Says
still up 82% in the last 30 days, so that's pretty solid.
It says introducing Immutable Passport, your passport to the future of gaming. We're developing Immutable Passport, the instant non-custodial wallet onboarding solution for Web3 games, designed to onboard the next billion users into Web3.
Yeah,
And here's kind of like,
I like it.
oh, there's the sound got me just now.
I couldn't
Here
hear it.
it good because it just blew my ears out. Immutable passport looks cool, kind of gimmicky. It's definitely not going to be a physical thing, I don't think. It's just probably going to connect your wallet up to like the different games and ecosystems, I imagine. Um, so yeah, that's kind of what it looks like there. You scan it and go. Again, I don't think that's what it's actually going to look like. I think you can see here, for example, sign in with Immutable. Simple onboarding. You have all the different apps that you can integrate with. Now, I'm excited to see that. That's going to be easy for
Is this already
people to.
launched?
No, this is so if you
So
scroll up,
it will
it'll show
your
coming
assets are going to
soon.
be stored in this.
So what I think this is I think it's going to add like an additional layer to like your MetaMask, or you know how Dapper does it? Like you have one kind of central wallet, and from there like all your flow chain stuff is just integrated into that same wallet. So when you do KYC one time, and all the projects on Dapper include or Flowchain, including like Doodles, for example, you don't have to re KYC to all these different projects
Yeah.
ever again. You just have one central wallet that you can self custody if you want. But that's where everything's kind of held, and I think this is the same thing Immutable's doing.
Would this kind of be like a proxy wallet? Like you connect your MetaMask to it that's actually holding the wallet that's actually holding the assets, and then it runs from there? Okay.
And
Well,
yeah,
that's cool. I
I
think
think
this
they're
is
going the
needed for
Dapper.
onboarding and gaming. Dude, I found it I'm sorry, not to, like, go back too much, but, like, during the, Discord or not Discord, during the Twitter AMA with Alex, Alex was talking about how VeVe set up with a Marvel booth and how it wasn't that successful because people had to KYC in order to claim their free asset. So, like, nobody imagine, like, going up to this booth you don't know anything about, and they're like, "Hey, we wanna give you something free, but first you gotta give us your license and your passport." Like, 1, it looks sketchy, and then 2, like,
Oh,
people might not have their passport and stuff with them, so
oh, we got somebody in the green room. We got a special guest on. He might have some insight into this passport because he actually is a software dev. Enter the room. We have the myth, the legend. Hello, Kay. What's
What's
going on,
up?
man?
what's up,
Hey,
man?
what's going on? How are
Dude,
you?
we're going flying back to California now, man. We all stayed in the same
Yeah.
place.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Got the gang back.
Yeah, I went from the real
Kay,
house to
Kay,
the
thought.
metaverse house.
Kay, thoughts. We have passport. We have David U rocking an actual Gundam. Like, what is going on? Yeah, man. What's your thoughts?
Oh yeah. So IMX passport wise, I spoke to someone about that today. Not yet today, like I think yesterday. And so basically it's good what they're doing. And I can understand the need for it, right? So essentially what it is it's a way of generating a wallet from your email address, and then that email address that's hooked up to your wallet now functions as like single sign-on. So when you sign into most applications nowadays, you have the option of signing in with your Gmail, and so now that you've got a Gmail account, it kind of functions as a login for everything else, right? Or anything that accepts single sign-on. So I can see the benefit of that from where they're saying, oh, you don't need to manage as many wallets and things like that. I will say, if you're relying on everything based off of one email address, then you need to make sure you keep that email address super, super secure. Same thing with single sign-on with Gmail. If someone has your Gmail, they can start logging into everything, right? So I imagine there will be like a lot of stress in terms of like enabling 2FA and like, you know, other forms of verification. But I can see the benefit of having that because, yeah, I understand, you know, multiple wallets, especially if you're kind of not blockchain native, because they all want to onboard mainstream gamers into like Web3 based gaming. And so you have to get used to all those like kind of nuances with blockchain and whatnot. But I think it's a good thing. The one caveat though is I wouldn't say having multiple wallets is necessarily a bad thing, because many people, I encourage it as well. You should have multiple wallets, because what we've seen recently is a lot of people who have everything on one wallet, and their one wallet gets drained when they click one, you know, bad link. I strongly encourage people to have like a burner wallet, which you use to click random stuff, and you only put in like just the exact amount of crypto that you need to buy something, and then keep like your main wallet that holds everything like completely separate. So yeah, there is a benefit to having multiple wallets, but I can see why it might be a bit of an annoying thing for someone who's like, you know, not super into blockchain. They just want to play some of the games and, you know, maybe earn from it.
I agree on the burner wallet sentiment. I shared my screen because I think Midnight Society is already doing this. I own one of their NFTs, and like basically when they dropped the NFT, when they dropped it, it was on their wallet. Like they have like their Midnight Society wallet. You see how it says right here, like this wallet is
Self-custody,
actually
yeah.
well, this isn't self custody. This is owned by Midnight Society, but at any given
Or I
point,
mean custody. Sorry, I didn't
yeah,
mean to say
yeah.
self.
At any given point, you could transfer it. Like I connected this wallet and I transferred them out, or you can like keep it on the site via your wallet. So you think it's going to kind of look like this? And this is, I agree with Kay. The problem with this is like protected by an email, and that just gets fishy because it's a lot easier for somebody to steal your email than it is somebody to steal your wallet keys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. I think that would be good, obviously, for onboarding, you know, just random, or not random users, but people new to blockchain that really don't know how to operate, you know, crypto or whatever. I think, you know, this type of, I guess, sign on, I don't really know what it's going to look like when it's all said and done. But if it's as smooth as Midnight Society, I think that'll definitely make it a lot easier to play Web3 games for sure.
Do you have a Midnight Society Founders Pass, Kyle? You do?
Yeah, I think I bought one off the
You
floor.
know,
Yeah.
they're like I bought it for $50 last year, like credit card, and they're worth like $300 right now.
Yeah, I bought
Like on
mine.
ETH.
I bought mine for like 50 to 60 to $70 or so. I didn't spend more than 100 though. But yeah, if they're worth 300, I didn't know. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, that's
crazy part
crazy.
is you could have made multiple profiles and bought and minted multiple passes, but nobody was talking about it.
So
That's
Immutable X, big news there. The Gundam, David, you with the Gundam.
yeah.
Thoughts on
I've got
that?
like yeah, because I'm a huge Gundam fan. I built this one. Well, my girlfriend technically built it last weekend.
Dang. Okay.
Yeah, like a lot of the ones I bought recently,
Oh,
they're like
I got a Gundam.
exclusive from the Gundam factory in Japan. Oh yeah, so like these ones, they'll say like limited edition right there. So I've got like a bunch of
Yeah,
these.
that's insane.
That's
A
cool.
clear. Yeah.
Yeah, the clear ones. But yeah, like I'm if we get Gundam, that's actually a huge IP that I'm a pretty big fan of. But I don't think they should do Gundam or any of these IPs until there's like a proper solid marketing plan for Asia, because that's where these IPs would do phenomenally well in. But they shouldn't market to Asia until there's proper localization in the app, which to this day we haven't had any kind of localization. And then on top of that, they need to fix the basics, because I know they've got this panel thing and Discord where they want feedback from the community. My feedback is just fix the basics. Like we can do all the cool stuff, you know, as time progresses, but if you're having to like, you know, log in and change your password and, you know, do all of this stuff just to get into the app, like at this stage, Like you have to fix that before you even attempt to market to Asia. Because I'll tell you now, right? Like a lot of the collectors in Asia, they have more of a perfectionist mentality. Like if you give them an app with all of these issues and like jankiness, they're gonna see it like you're insulting them. Basically, they're like, why are you getting me to put money into something that doesn't even work properly? Like they will get annoyed by it, like especially. And then when it comes to support and all of that stuff, like then they're just gonna be completely put off. So you get a lot of interest, but you won't get a lot of retention. So a lot of this stuff needs to be properly fixed. And then only when that's in place would I feel comfortable with, IP like Gundam and Shonen Jump and all of that stuff. Otherwise, it's just not going to work.
Yeah, and China just, I think they just announced that they're supporting like some NFT like marketplace now or something like that. So they're actually supporting NFTs. Maybe we see something there. That VeVe actually had an advisor from China at one point. I don't know if they still do. But yeah, like in terms of the Pacific or not the Pacific, but the Asia market, you have China, South Korea. I mean, millions of people in those countries, and that's a massive market.
I bought a kind of a. Let me pull it up. I probably should have done more
APAC
research.
region. That's what I was trying to think of.
APAC, yeah, that's it.
How do I share my screen again?
Oh, there's another meme for you, Kyle. Check. I sent it to you.
Whoops. Where'd I go? I bought this last week. I bought it. I put in an offer, so that's why I have one that I didn't necessarily love. But it's called Tubby Cats, and I think it's gonna have a good like Japanese adoption to it. One of the VVOGs recommended it to me. Crypto Cortez now goes by
This meme,
Shroomy.
K.
Oh, no, check the other one. I sent it to you on Telegram. Quite a funny one.
Yeah, have you heard of this project?
I have. Tubby Cats. Yeah. Crypto what was it? Crypto
Cortez.
Cortazio, or it was like, yeah, it's like a pun on AOC.
They're God, I forgot they were supported by some like large Japanese organization. I don't remember who it was, but I'm kind of hoping with that adoption, this project obviously I think is going to stand out. But it's cool, and they have like figures attached to them, and then they're doing 3D models, and they got a lot going on.
Yeah, that's a good project, I think, too, that could do well. Because I was looking at that too, and we haven't really seen anything good. We've seen cool cats, but they're not really like super anime oriented. This one right here, I think, is a good representation of like anime cats for sure. Let me pull this one up from Buck Nasty, man. This guy's one of the trolls in the community, but he puts out some kind of funny memes. This one says, OUB MCP crypto payout influencer marketing only exchanges Q system dodgy Spider-Man wallet explanation slap rebranding, no big deal. There's always a little bit of truth in these funny memes, you know what I mean? So yeah, I wish we got a little bit more in terms of some deadlines when things are coming out. They didn't say anything about the VeVeverse. I think that was really anticipated here, considering that was supposed to roll out like around now. So very curious about where they are with that. Now I assumed it would take a long time. I didn't think we would see it till like the end of this year, but we will see. We will see. Any thoughts about the anything around VeVeverse when you guys expect that to kind of come out?
I mean, the VeVeverse, it sounded like, I didn't think they were going to do it this quarter. I was like, they might do something like maybe by Q3 of this year. But no, it just sounded overly ambitious. I don't know how they even came up with that estimate, like Q1, because they literally just only done the demo at that point, like just placing the assets in an environment, and that was it. That's all I could tell. Yeah, I don't know. Like, there's so much stuff that I felt like was far more critical that we should have kind of at least gotten some stuff related to, like you know, MCP, I know that's been delayed. I don't know when that will be out, but it'll come out when it comes out. Localization, at least some form of localization to show that they can at least do it. We haven't had any form of localization yet, which, like Omi the Clown just said in the chat, he said localization was supposed to come out in 2022. Now it's 2023. And at least using Omi in some capacity in the app, because that's the one that I think is like taken the longest amount of time. So there's a lot of stuff that I think is kind of integral to this whole ecosystem that they've created that just we haven't had yet. And then there's like this stuff on the side that's like, it's cool, but it's not like an integral critical part of this ecosystem, like a new logo, for example. Like, that's cool, but I don't think that's like, you know, what many of us came into VeVe for. You know, we came into VeVe to maybe use our Omi tokens, or to get involved in, you know, showing off our collectibles in a metaverse, or, you know, if you're in another country, at least to have it in, like, you know, your local language, so it makes it easier to use. I
almost feel like they should have not integrated the rebrand with the community update. Like, I kind of wish they had done them separately. Like, do the community update yesterday when they did it, and then launch the rebrand next week via another video or another post. I feel like that would have made people a little happier and maybe concentrated a little bit more on key elements. But, you know,
yeah, it's a great point. Like, usually you want to do your brand announcements along with some major news. Is how most brands do it. So it's like, hey, not only did we do a brand change, but we're going to roll out phase 1 of MCP. We have crypto payout going on now. You have like a litany of things you do when you do a brand launch, but I'm trying to hold out for him a little bit here on this in terms of what Dan Crowther said about phase 1. He didn't put a deadline on it, though. We've been waiting. Like, we want to see some feature. Like, we went backwards with the Wire thing, and they fixed that because Wire is obviously back in business. But yeah, interesting to watch here, though, on that end.
Yeah, I think the other meme with the three-headed dragon one, I think that one's quite a one where there is actually a lot of truth now, because I did recently go on Danny's stream, and I said, you know, I don't think VeVe's miles ahead. I think they're like centimeters ahead. I think it's probably halfway of this year. If it's still if we're still in the same position as we are now, like, even though I probably thought I would never say it, like, I think VeVe might end up playing, you know, a game of catch up with their competitors at this rate, because the velocity that I've seen their competitors releasing stuff at has been, I mean, honestly, has been faster than what VeVe's been doing. And I really didn't think it would get to that stage. So I think if halfway through this year, if you know, we're seeing a lot more kind of features and integration with third parties, and, you know, all of that other stuff that we wanted on VeVe, and VeVe still hasn't done any of that halfway through the year, I would, at that point, genuinely believe, as far as the tech is concerned, VeVe is now behind. They're not early anymore.
Well, I mentioned to Kyle earlier. I know you were like in the chat at the time, but that's kind of how I felt last year at this time, when like Hero came out the gate with like this already like competitive collecting, you know, basically their own version of Master Collector program. Like, you build up points, you get on the leaderboard, you get rewarded for that, you get airdrops for that. You can take those off, which I know this has to do with licensors, but like, you could take those off onto Immutable, and if you wanted to take those off Immutable, you could bridge them onto ETH. So like, they came out with interoperability off the bat, which, again, I get IP different. But they also came out with this Master Collector type program, which has nothing to do with that. You know, that was already like a pretty solid system of like, oh, you get points and rewards for collecting and holding. And it had its own faults, but the fact that they came out with that, and then a couple of other projects came out with things around the same time, was a little discouraging. So I get what you're saying, like, as far as like, at what point can we stop saying like, oh, we're early, oh, be patient, this is a long-term hold? Like, is there ever a point where we might get left behind if we don't keep up? I don't know. Like, I don't have the answer to that, but that's kind of like a thought that I have.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of us we've been through this with social media platforms. We've seen the dawn of MySpace, and it got totally dusted by Facebook. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
There is that constant fear for sure of being a legitimate, like, concern as a NFT holder of a lot of the VeVe NFTs and Omi token holder as well. You don't want that, like obviously you want VeVe to succeed. But there is comes to a point where you do have that concern in the back of your head. It's like we've been through this before, not only in social media, but like I come from the software space. I see it all the time in software and in the tech space. And Kay, you literally you literally are a developer. So I'm sure you've seen this too. So
Yeah,
it's legitimate. I mean, it is concern there, and hopefully they can adjust those in a timely manner. It's kind of like, in my opinion, 2023 is kind of the year that they need to absolutely, execute on what they've kind of set out to do. So, yeah, that's kind
yeah.
of my thoughts on that.
I mean, I know they said, oh, we don't want to share too much because our competitors, etc., etc. But it seems like their competitors really don't care about sharing what they're going to do in terms of their roadmap, and they're doing it as well. So I don't know how valid that reason is, but there's stuff that you know is quite as far as like complexity goes. It's a pretty straightforward thing to talk about, like like the localization, having the app in different languages, different language options. Like that's something that most platforms, I think, probably thought about. Many platforms offer, but it would add so much value to their app if they kind of did that, which was supposed to be last year, but still hasn't happened. I have no idea when it's coming, and yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat as everyone else. Like we just have to wait. But yeah, there comes up. I think everyone has their own kind of level of patience. I think probably this year, if there's still like no real development, I think a lot of people are gonna be, they're either gonna question it more or they're just gonna silently like go somewhere else. Like be like, oh, like I can't really be, motivated to, spend more money on this, etc., etc.
Yeah,
I
and
think
as
some
a
people do
content
feel like that
creator,
already.
yeah, and as a content creator too, it's like we want to do exciting updates, like new features coming out, master collectors program, like hopefully already rolled out. We can talk about different strategies there. Currently, there's nothing to really talk about. Like with this update,
Mm,
there wasn't really anything there. Like it was just we did a rebrand. Here's some kind of things over here happening. So there wasn't really too much. We can't really go out and make a bunch of content about that, right? So it is difficult in our shoes to want to continue to kind of create content, and do what we love. So
that's
that's
a very, very good point, because a lot of people have been saying in the community there's been a lot of negative sentiment, but I don't, like I said on Danny's stream, I don't think that's entirely the full truth. I think there's been a lack of positive sentiment. And
Mm,
I've noticed, even though I
I
want
like
to
that.
say positive stuff, there's just nothing to really talk about. I mean, in like, the past 6 months, what have we gotten? Like a search bar. I mean, I can tweet about that, but if I compare it to competitors, like Hero, for example, there's crafting, and there's burning. You can use the points in like the app as well, and then like whatever else. Like there's actual stuff to do now, right? Like McFarlane, for example, they came out the gate running with like a built-in collector program. They're going to reveal more stuff related to that, and I'd be surprised if a platform that just literally launched months ago ends up delivering more features in this, let's say, next quarter than VeVe, that's been around for like at that point a few years. um yeah, so I do want to talk about stuff and like positive stuff, but there's just not a lot of stuff there right now.
I like that point of like, not that necessarily everybody's being negative. It's just that there's not a lot of positives. So you're going to see the negatives outweigh the positives.
Yeah.
And then on Kyle's point, as far as content goes, like also just like retention in the app, like I'm not really a vault builder. So like there's not a lot for me to do in the app. Like if there was like more of like gamification, even over like collecting and points, like I could make streams and content about that all day. Maybe even when they come out with like a, what was that anime game that was centered around Omi, like that would be fun to stream. There's a lot of other like fun stuff to do, but like right now there's just no app. There's no reason for me to be in the app other than like buying a drop that I like. So
Mm.
like you know, it's hard to make content about. Also, I do want to add to, like, I think this comes from like me thinking about like, oh, somebody's gonna clip this later and be like, what, these guys are fudding. But like, this conversation is good and genuine, and I think like people need to have it, because like what they want, what a lot of people want, is they want people to tell them what they want to hear. That way they're happy for a temporary amount of time. And you know what happens with that? You have somebody who just got in the game a couple months ago, they're hyped up about it, they'll hype you up, and then a month later they'll leave because they'll get bored, and they're going off of emotion. Like, we've been here since 2021. Kay, you've probably been here since even earlier as far as VeVe is concerned. And like, we're still here. So like, having these conversations to me creates consistency and stability. If you're like just like this constant like hype machine, you're not, those people are going to fade. That we've seen them fade all the time. I see people jump in making content, or people that just jump in the community. They're super hyped. They tell everybody what they want to hear. They call out all the fudders. They clip all this stuff. They're gone within a couple of months, man, because they can't have these real conversations, and kind of, it's almost like suppressing your emotions. If you don't let anything out and you're just this one-sided person, like, you're not going to be stable, or you're not going to be consistent. So if you're going to clip anything, you know, remember that part of the conversation too.
Yeah, go clip Cavell. No, I'm just kidding. We haven't seen too much of Cavell lately, man. We've only seen like 1 or 2 videos as in the past, like, I don't know, like 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
MIA
I mean, there's
Cavell,
nothing
man.
to talk about or speculate about, I'd say.
It was kind of prophetic, man. Cavell was like, "Hey, man, I'm gonna bounce out of the community for a bit. We'll see how that goes." And it's been kind of he kind of called it a little bit on the sentiment here, but
Yeah.
I mean, at least Cavell was still pushing out videos and generating some hype, even though they were, you know, not too much to talk about. But yeah, Chris has a good point though, in terms of not being overly biased and overly like fanboy and overly like moon boy. And yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah, you know what I was thinking, right? Is also is I don't think it was planned, right? But at DCon, they were saying, oh, if you get a tattoo of the VeVe logo, we'll give you the logo card. And literally a few months later, they went and changed the logo. So now you've got like the old logo. So now they probably, you know, now you have to go get the new logo tattooed as well.
Yeah, we were talking about that, like our lamps and the tattoos. We got red pulled on our lamps and the tattoos. But no, I think they'll be more valuable. I'm sure they'll be more valuable. The golden logo in the app. Alex confirmed on Twitter Spaces earlier that you know, moving forward, they're not going to do the old logos. They're going to do the new ones. So the gold and silver, and I think they still have to drop the white and blue one from like forever ago, like 3 decons ago or something like that. So I think people are still waiting on those. I don't know when they'll come out, but maybe eventually. But yeah, that's Chris. Did you have anything else to say, or Kay, about any other topics here?
There's a lot to cover. We might have to do round 2 this week before the week's up.
Yeah. Oh, Mitch, did you see Mitch here? VeVe Digital Collectible on or Sound Money said Mitch T-shirt hinting Pokemon. I thought that was kind of funny.
Oh, I read that. Someone said it's a Street Fighter move.
Yeah, I just assumed it was like a combination, but that is pretty funny.
At the minimum, there is some pretty cool drops. I actually do like this one, the Scrooge drop coming out here. Obviously, VeVe, the silver lining, they still have licenses. They have a lot of them. We haven't seen a lot of them. There's still a lot of hype behind these licenses, and a lot of them are exclusive that can only be on VeVe. There's a lot of in terms of Disney or Marvel. I mean, there's a lot of exclusive covers that are on VeVe as well. So there's still a lot of like good things going on with VeVe. They just need to ramp up this dev time and get these features rolled out as soon as possible. So content creators like us can make some cool content around stuff like that. So anyways, that's I guess all we got for this one. Did you have anything else to say?
I mean, we mentioned this already, but you know, the fact that they hired like a couple, Mitch, Corey, Ryan, and I think there was one more person, I think is bullish for 2023.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, those guys are pretty stellar. I mean, Ryan, he's super positive guy, great guy for the position. Can kind of take all the sentiment, whether it's good, bad, and kind of just be a really positive force in the community. And then Rhubarb, Obviously, he does a lot of like on the content side. So very excited to see what they'll do. And of course, Mitch is what I'm, super excited about too.
That wraps it up.
That's a wrap, baby. We'll tune into the next one. DJ and Dads will be there on Chris's channel next time.
Heyo.
And Kay, it was a pleasure having you on, man. A special guest.
Oh yeah,
we
sure.
appreciate you. We love the bird. We love the Gundams in the background. Do you think that will be coming, by the way, anytime this year? Any Gundam Supreme, or do you think that was just...
I doubt it. I doubt it. I think if as soon as we get the signal that the app is they fixed up the the issues, at that point maybe.
Yeah, I think that one could be a good boost for VeVe. Is the
Oh,
Gundam
yeah,
might
sure.
be
That would be
still
huge.
yeah. There, I mean, me and you like old school fans. A lot of us are, and so I think that would push the needle. They should drop it at an optimal time. So I agree on that for sure. But that's all we got. Later, Omi homies in the chat. Thank you so much for tuning in, and tune in next time. Peace. All right, we are